Hello and good afternoon. Welcome back to another session of Creative Corner. Today we are going to be working on a recycled glass jar terrarium. But before we go ahead and get started on our workshop today, let's go over some of the materials you'll need to complete this workshop. Alright everyone, so you'll go ahead and need some soil. I have some potting soil here. I also have some preserved Spanish moss. I have some desert sand as well as some rocks. If you would like, I do have a limited number of supply kits available. And in your supply kits, you'll get a small bag of sand, rocks, moss, as well as another bag of soil, as well as a tiny succulent too as well. So you'll receive all these. And I went ahead and made a little mini terrarium using a glass container that I found. And then for our demonstration, I'm going to use a salsa jar, which I already cleaned off the label, as well as a tablespoon as a little tiny shovel. So with that, let's go ahead and get started today. Let's go ahead and get started. While off camera, I went ahead and got a self-measuring spoon. So you're going to scoop out some of the soil into your jar. So I went ahead and put 2 scoops and I used a third of a cup for the measuring spoon. And I did 2 of them, so I did 2/3 of soil. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get some rocks. Put a nice layer of rocks, so that way it lets the soil breathe. And then I'm also going to put a tablespoon of sand and kind of mix this in together, just so that way the water retains in the soil and there's enough air circulating in the soil too as well. Let's put another scoop of soil in. And before I continue, I'm just going to pack this down a tiny bit. And 2 scoops. And then I'm going to grab a tiny amount of sand and put a thin layer on the top. Use my tablespoon to mix it around a bit. And once that's done, again with your spoon, whatever you're using to scoop out your items, you're going to make a little hole. And then we're going to transplant our succulent into the container. Now with this, you want to be a little careful because it already comes with the soil. I'm just going to break away some of this old soil. And I'm just using my fingers to crush the sides of the soil that's encasing this plant. Because I want to make sure that it's breathing properly when you water it. You want to gently hold your succulent and not grip it too tight. And I'm just clearing away some of this old soil. And it does get a little messy, so if you have old newspaper or parchment paper, you're more than welcome to put that down before you start this. But once you have a good amount of the soil, you're going to go ahead and Just use your fingers to incorporate the new soil with the roots of your plant. And all you need to do is just grab a little bit more soil, put it on the top and on the sides. You want to make sure your plant is somewhat in the middle. I think that looks good. And next we can go ahead and dress it up a bit. So this is just for aesthetics. I'm placing down some sand. And grab a tiny amount of rocks. This is just for landscaping. Then once you're satisfied with it, you can go ahead and get some of the moss. Fresh moss is going to look a little bit different than preserved, but I'm going to go ahead and put some of this preserved moss into the container as well. And once you've done that, and you're satisfied with your overall results, you are done. And the last thing you need to do is just to go ahead and water your plant every so often, not too often, because succulents themselves don't need a whole lot of water. So just water it every few days. And if you want, you can have more than one of these, but like I said, I use a salsa jar. You're more than welcome to use any type of glass jar you have laying around your home, whether it be a pickle jar or a cherry jar, or even a flower vase. It's entirely up to you. But with that, let's go ahead and clean up our mess, and I'll see you here in a bit. Thank you for joining me on today's workshop. We did some recycled glass jar terrariums, and with that, like I said earlier, I have this little flower vase, and then I also have a salsa jar. If you are interested in doing this workshop, I do have a limited number of supplies for curbside request kits. And in your kits, you're going to get a bag of soil, as well as a bag containing sand, rocks, and moss, as well as a succulent. So if you would like, just go to our website, ofpl.online. Scroll down the page until you hit our curbside services section. There will be a link that says Request an OFPL Supply Kit. Thank you again for joining me today, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.